You must remember this. All right, Periscope's live. Facebook's live. And YouTube is live. All right. Hey, everybody. It is Jack Heald. I am trying something a little different today, a slightly different way to create this video that you're seeing. And if the quality is bad, I won't know it until I actually see the result. So I'm trying to monitor my chats here. If I've got a problem, we'll go back to the old way. But if this works, it's a little simpler. Today's episode is How to Be a Grown-Ass Man Music Edition. All right? If you want to be an actual grown-up, this is the music that you should be familiar with. And by grown-up, I mean a man that women like being with. But before we do that, I want to point out something. I almost never wear t-shirts. But this one is one I really like, and I've just got to show it off. This is my Johnny Cupcakes t-shirt. Look at that. Client sent me that shirt, and I love it. I've got a lot of shirts in my closet that never get worn, but that one is in a regular part of the rotation. Johnny Cupcakes is a great story. Y'all ought to check it out. That has nothing to do with anything other than I like it. All right. 2 artists you should be familiar with if you have any hope of being taken seriously as a man. And yes, there's a little tongue-in-cheek here. But these are world-class artists, musicians that have songs or music that you should be familiar with. And if you put this on, put it on the stereo, light some candles, bring out some adult beverages, life is going to be good for you, whether there's a willing woman there or not. I promise. Number 1 is Miles Davis. His album, Kinda Blue, that came out in the late 50s, in some ways created modern jazz. Prior to Kinda Blue, we could see jazz was coming there, but afterwards, Kinda Blue is one of those pivotal albums. Everything is measured as before or after Kinda Blue. There's the opening song on the Kinda Blue album is called Say What, and I won't have to explain Say What. All you have to do is listen to it. This is an entirely instrumental album, all right? But when you hear Say What, you will know exactly why Miles Davis named that song Say What. It's a brilliant piece of work. It took jazz music in a direction it hadn't really gone until then. It's a very sophisticated piece of music. The whole album is complex. It deserves your attention, not as background music, but as something that you sit down, get yourself an adult beverage, maybe a nice cigar, put it on the radio, on the stereo, and listen to it with headphones if you need to, especially with headphones. Now, I want to warn you, it was recorded in 1957, I believe it was. The fidelity is not going to be what you're normally used to, but it is still, nevertheless, a brilliant, brilliant album. Get a hold of it and listen to it. The second one, the second artist you should be familiar with comes from the same era, Dave Brubeck. Now, you've probably heard his song Take 5, either played by him, by one of his combos, or the 900,000 people who've covered Take 5. It was one of those brilliant songs that has a 5 meter rather than a meter that's a device that's divisible by 2. Musicians understand what I'm talking about. The rest of you probably don't, but you'll hear it and you go, there's something different about this. Well, it's a song that is in 5. Thus the name Take 5. You need to hear it from the guy who wrote it, from the original artist. He was an absolutely brilliant pianist as a keyboardist myself. Dave Brubeck is one of my favorites. But again, This is a song, and the album that was originally on was, I believe, called, oh, shoot. I don't remember what it was called. No, it was a Dave Brubeck quartet. Um, the original album, again, like Miles Davis's Kind of Blue, is worth sitting down and paying attention to. Now, I've given you two artists and two albums that I want you to sit down and pay attention to and become familiar with. But then I want to take it one step farther. The act of sitting down and putting on an entire album, a complete work by a musician, by an artist, and then giving it your full attention is one of the best things you can do for yourself during this time of, well, I'm not going to make this contemporaneous. It's always one of the very best things you can do for yourself. Great music pays dividends if you will pay attention to it. So you pay your attention and it will pay back in amazing dividends. This is true not just for your soul, but also for your cognition, for the way that you perceive things. We are so used in our mechanical, technical, postmodern world to perceiving things through the realm of cognition, of rationality. It's really good to give focused attention to things that are not entirely perceived rationally. Music, the most ephemeral of arts, is a very good way to do that. And if you will pay your attention to great pieces of musical art, it will do very good things for your ability to perceive things supra-rationally, beyond merely rational. I'm not talking anything woo-woo. I'm just talking about increasing our capacities to perceive things that tend to go beyond rationality. All right, so that's today's try with a different type of broadcast. Hopefully, it worked out. I won't know until it's done. I'm Jack Heald. We'll talk tomorrow.